Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, family. Welcome to the Mental House with me, your host, Khadija. Um, Listen, family. I was going back listening to one of my old Block Talk radio programs that I did with Queen Dara, and there was a program that we did called "Come Clean with It." Um, and this particular program was talking about, giving up something that you've been holding on to and you just don't want to talk about. You just can't. You just get nervous and then, feel like somebody punch you in the gut every time you think about it. Well, this program was free and it was allowing you the opportunity to dump some of this information because we realized that every time you dump something that you've been holding on to and shed some light on something that you thought you buried in the dark, and even if it's for a long time, once you let it go, whoo, it's like a burden lifted. And I think Erica, my girl, she said it best when she said, "Bag lady, you gonna miss your bus, 'cause your ass, you carry too much stuff." Y'all know what I'm talking about. I know I got the words and lyrics, confused, but y'all get it. So anyway, the show was called "Come Clean with It," and believe it or not, it was one of the most listened to programs that I had over on Block. And that's what I'm aiming to do. Load up a lot of those audio um, and put them out because there were some interesting conversations that I did have when people would decide to join me, and we talked about real stuff. But back to this right here. Come Clean with It is a real um, not just funny segment or a tea spilling segment, but it's a confession. And that's one thing I know that the Catholic Church got it right about. You can't throw away every, well, I just try to take something out of every religion because I'm not a religious person. And I make it relevant for me. Because if it's not relevant, then I don't need it. And so that's my take on religion. So I like that in Catholicism where you have the opportunity to go confess. Lord Jesus, let me tell you what I did. And so no matter how bad it is, actually somebody is listening and you can get that shit off your heart. Okay? Now you do that in the black church, child, child. Um, Shout out to the black church for being a straight up mental house. Straight up a freaking mental house full of demons. Straight up. And I just want to give a shout out to y'all this morning because I love you too. But back to um, that particular concept of human nature to get serious, I think it's important to be able to confess. Like R. Kelly said, I confess. So confessing is good for the soul. And so I'm going to bring that program back, come clean with it. And I want to see how tough some of y'all. I don't know if I want to do it, if I'm going to try to do it live, you know, and see what happens because I don't want to do it live and I'll just be sitting there trying to think of everything I can confess to. And it would take too long because, like I said, I'm a baby boomer and I don't want the whole hour or half an hour to be about all of my problems. Some of y'all can confess and it'll make me go into my memory bank and get them out more readily. But honestly, it's a real good concept and I'm going to load some of the shows up because I think one of the most difficult things that I had to deal with was the catfish aspect. Before all this stuff, catfish, it became a hit series. I was a real life catfisher. I mean, I was a notorious catfisher to the point where it at one point it got extremely serious with a person that I really actually fell in love with, and um, it lasted for a long time. And because I was so young, we were teenagers. Uh, because we used to play on the phone all the time. This was the days before the call back, the days before you could look and you had call waiting, call ID. So in fact, sometimes you would pick up the phone and it would be a party line. Somebody would be on the phone. You didn't even have to have a party line because they were still getting that technology out. But you could call the phone company and get a shared line with two or three other people. It was really interesting how the phone services have evolved. But I remember we picked up my brother and I'm gonna share this story with y'all because I'm just gonna do a little bit of it because it gets real interesting. But I'll share the part where we met this person online. I did, and he helped me because we were like partners in crime. And what happened was I began to catfish this person. You know, now you have to realize at this time, I think I might have been about 14, 13, 14. And it was real crazy because I was living a double life. Um, I was not clear and trying to deal with my sexuality. The people in church were, really dogmatic, and just really condescending, and made it a real suppressive environment. Then you had parents that were, just in their own narcissistic and abusive uh, system. But what was interesting was when you would be in church and you would hear people talk about if a man was gay, then that's okay. Um, sometimes that happens or whatever. But if a woman is gay, then she's mentally ill. And it was really interesting when I used to sit around and actually hear them talk about these kind of concepts, which of course, when you're struggling or you don't know what's going on with your sexuality or how you feel about yourself, those kind of conversations can be pretty damn detrimental. And that's what was going on. And so, but when we start playing this game, however, um, we were, like I said, kids, but the game lasted. It lasted. It lasted. And so I was actually catfishing the individual, um, and I felt really horrible about it for a long time. But I did confess to the person. And there's a lot of details in this that I'm just skipping over now because they are on that blog talk show, which I'm going to load up a lot of this stuff. But it's very interesting how this conversation happened. And so when I watch this show now, and I think that I really have a lot of mixed emotions when I watch it, and it's very interesting, and it's a cruel psychological game to play with somebody, and of course we don't know that when we're in it, and and then if you fool around and you get your feelings get involved, ugh, because to be honest with you, I've never even felt um, love like that in my heart, and it was all a big lie. So, and I mean, the details are pretty. I mean, really deep. So we used to get on the phone all the time and play. Um, do you have Prince Albert in the can? Yeah. Well, you better let him out. Is your refrigerator running? You better catch it. All that kind of crazy stuff we used to play on the phone, and that was really our video games. That was really our mischief. But we were social. I think about that. Even though it was pretty detrimental, we were still social. Everything was still on a social level. But again, y'all, I just wanted to bring that up because it's really interesting. Come clean with it is a very good concept, and I do want to bring that back. And just tell me what you think about it. Leave a comment below. Tell me, do you think that's it in Catholicism where you have that aspect of it where you get a chance to confess, um, and it should remain and it's supposed to remain anonymous, and you feel secure about the confession that you've made, not that it's going to be all over the church or up and down the neighborhood. I like to hear your opinions about that because some of y'all was raised Catholics, and so I mean no disrespect if I've offended anybody. Anyway, with that being said, if you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.